Hmm. So yesterday we have started anatomy and physiology of skeletal system और कल हमने जो है introduction to skeletal system देखा था and then which was followed by the functions of skeleton और फिर उसके बाद हमने देखा था types of जो है bones according to their shape और फिर हमने देखा था basic anatomy of the long bone, right? So today we will discuss about the histology of the bone histology. जो bone tissue होता है actually, bone tissue which is also called as osseous tissue. अब bone tissue is a type of connective tissue, right? अब उस connective tissue में जो है हर एक connective tissue की तरह जो है होता है cells which are widely distributed cells and along with the extracellular matrix. ओके हर एक कनेक्टिव टिश्यू की तरह बोन्स में भी वैसे ही होता है. तो अब जो ये बोन है इसमें भी सेल्स होती है और इसमें भी एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मैट्रिक्स होता है. फाइन. अब जो ये सेल्स होती है इसमें सेल्स जो है ये व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट मैट्रिक्स फर्स्ट, मैट्रिक्स जो है इट इज मेड अप ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस एंड इनऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस. ओके अब ऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस में we have fibers which are collagen fibers, and then we have ground substances, right? Or inorganic substances में we have the crystallized mineral salts. Fine. So in cells we will discuss in detail about cells. लेकिन पहले जो है I will tell you some points about the inorganic substances which are present in the extracellular matrix of the bone. फाइन. अब ये जो इनऑर्गेनिक में जो मैंने आपको कहा कि इट इज मेड अप ऑफ जो है क्रिस्टलाइज्ड मिनरल सॉल्ट्स एंड द मोस्ट एबंडेंट जो मिनरल सॉल्ट होता है in the extracellular matrix of the bone tissue, that is the calcium phosphate. Okay, and when this calcium phosphate जो है ये combine होता है with another mineral salt which is the calcium hydroxide. ओके मैंने ये यहाँ पे लिखा नहीं है तो मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ तो आप लोग जो है अपने रफ नोटबुक पे इसे नोट डाउन करें. द मोस्ट अबंडेंट इज जो है कैल्शियम फॉस्फेट एंड कैल्शियम फॉस्फेट देन कंबाइंस विद अनदर मिनरल सॉल्ट विच इज कॉल्ड एज कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड. और इन दोनों के कॉम्बिनेशन से वहां पे जो है फॉर्म होता है क्रिस्टल्स ऑफ हाइड्रोक्सी एपेटाइट. Hydroxyapatite. So hydroxyapatite crystals are formed by the combination of calcium phosphate and calcium hydroxide. Fine. Now, as the crystals of hydroxyapatite are formed, they combine with still another mineral salts such as calcium carbonate, and then they combine with several ions like magnesium, like fluoride, like potassium and sulfate. Okay, I'm repeating this. First we have the most abundant type of जो mineral salt होता है इस extracellular matrix of bone tissue में, that is calcium जो है phosphate. Calcium phosphate combines with calcium hydroxide and they form the crystals of hydroxyapatite. This hydroxyapatite still further combines with other mineral salts such as calcium carbonate, and it also combines with other ions such as the magnesium, potassium, fluoride, and sulfate. Fine. As these mineral salts are deposited in the जो है framework of collagen fibers of the extracellular matrix, ये जो है we are talking about extracellular matrix, and these inorganic substances जो है when these crystals are formed, fine, when these crystals are formed by combination of these different crystal salts and ions, and these crystal salts, these crystals or these mineral salts जो है they are deposited in the framework of the collagen fibers. Collagen fibers are also there in the extracellular matrix. फाइन। और उसी नेटवर्क में, नेटवर्क ऑफ कोलेजन फाइबर्स में, ये सारे जो मिनरल सॉल्ट्स जो है ये डिपॉजिट हो जाते हैं वहाँ। और जो है ये क्रिस्टल्स जो है जब ये वहाँ पे डिपॉजिट हो जाते हैं ये फर्दर जो है हार्ड हो जाते हैं। ओके, एंड दैट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड द हार्डनेस ऑफ द बोन। आई एम रिपीटिंग, these crystals are formed, and these crystals are formed by first by the combination of calcium phosphate with the calcium hydroxide, and they form of hydroxyapatite. Hydroxyapatite जो है crystals जब बनते हैं, these crystals combine with जो है other ions and other salts like calcium carbonate और सेवरल आयंस जो मैंने अभी कहा, मैग्नीशियम है, सल्फेट है, फ्लोराइड है, पोटेशियम है। इनके साथ जब ये मिलते हैं तो वहां पे जो है ये क्रिस्टल्स बन जाते हैं, और ये क्रिस्टल्स फिर डिपॉजिट होते हैं इन द नेटवर्क ऑफ कोलेजन इन द एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मैट्रिक्स। और जब ये उस कोलेजन में जब ये डिपॉजिट हो जाते हैं ये सारे क्रिस्टल्स, तो ये और हार्ड हो जाते हैं, और दैट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड द हार्डनेस of the bone. And this process is called as the calcification. This process is called as the formation and deposition of these mineral salts is called as calcification. Fine. And this calcification जो है, कैल्सिफिकेशन प्रोसेस जो है, ये फर्स्ट जो इसे इनिशिएट करता है, जो इसे स्टार्ट करता है, that is one type of cell actually in the bone, that is the osteoblasts. You can see in your left on the screen, under the cells we have osteoblasts, and osteoblasts is one of the type of cell which is present in the bones. और ये osteoblast जो है यही इनिशिएट करता है, स्टार्ट करता है दिस प्रोसेस विच इज कॉल्ड एज कैल्सिफिकेशन। फाइन। पहले पहले जो है ये इट वाज बिलीव्ड कि जो कैल्सिफिकेशन प्रोसेस है इट सिंपली ऑकर्ड व्हेन दी जो है दीज मिनरल सॉल्ट्स वेर प्रेजेंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ क्रिस्टल्स। लेकिन फिर जो है ये स्टडी की गई कि जो प्रोसेस ऑफ कैल्सिफिकेशन है it also requires the presence of collagen fibers. It is not only the formation of crystals, but when these crystals, these mineral salts are deposited in the network of this collagen fibers, then the process of calcification is completed. Fine. So calcification is not only the formation of crystals, it is the formation of crystals and then deposition of these crystals in the collagen fibers, the collagen fibers which are present in the extracellular matrix. Fine. Then we have the cells which are present in the bone. Fine. So cells जो है, we have 4 types of cells actually which are present in the bone, and the first type is osteoprogenitor cells. Osteoprogenitor cells are also called as osteogenic cells, and then the second one is osteoblasts, and the third one is osteocytes, and the fourth one is osteoclasts. Okay, these are the 4 types of cells which are present in the bone tissue. Fine. Not in the bone. I have told you bone जो है that contains different types of tissues, that contains some epithelial tissue, that contains some nervous tissue, right? I'm talking about the bone tissue in particular, bone tissue which is present in the bone, right? A bone tissue में there are present these 4 types of cells: osteoprogenitor cells, osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts. Fine. Sorry. Then we have first one, that is the osteoprogenitor cells. This osteoprogenitor cell, as I have told you, that it is also called as osteogenic cell, and this osteogenic cell is actually a pluripotent stem cell. Pluripotent stem cell, it is the stem cell which is present in the bone which give rise to the different type of bone, okay, some other type of bone, right? And this pluripotent stem cell is of the origin of mesenchyme. It is actually originated from mesenchyme. mesenchyme जो है actually वो जो है वहीं से all the types of connective tissue जो है वो form होते हैं mesenchyme से. So this is also a connective tissue, this जो है bone tissue. So bone tissue में जो osteoprogenitor cells है, they are also originated from the mesenchyme जो है from the mesenchyme. ओके और इन एडल्ट्स ये ऑस्टियोप्रोजेनिटर सेल्स जो है ये प्रेजेंट होते हैं. yesterday we have seen two layers. One is present on the outer side of the bone, which is called as periosteum, and then one layer, one membrane, one surface which was lining the medullary cavity. कल हमने anatomy of long bone में देखा था. अब deepest part of जो periosteum है, पेरियोस्टियम एक्चुअली 2 लेयर्स की बनी हुई होती है पेरियोस्टियम. अब वो पेरियोस्टियम की जो आउटर लेयर है, आउटर लेयर इज एक्चुअली दैट फाइब्रस लेयर ऑफ डेंस इरेगुलर कनेक्टिव टिश्यू, और जो इनर लेयर है उस जो है पेरियोस्टियम की, दैट इनर लेयर इज also called as osteogenic layer. Okay, that is called as osteogenic layer because that contains these cells which are called as osteoprogenitor cells. So these osteoprogenitor cells are present in the deeper parts of the periosteum, and then they are also present in the endosteum. Fine. I'm repeating this. This progenitor cells, osteoprogenitor cells, they are present in the deeper part of the periosteum. Periosteum, I have told you yesterday that the periosteum is the outer, all the bones are enclosed in a layer actually. That layer is called as periosteum. And periosteum, it is made up of 2 layers. There is outer fibrous dense irregular connective tissue and inner osteogenic layer. And that is called as osteogenic layer because that layer contains these osteogenic cells, and these osteogenic cells are the osteoprogenitor cells. फाइन. अब ये जो है इनका जो काम होता है, जो ऑस्टियोजेनिक सेल्स होता है या ऑस्टियोजेनिक सेल्स होती है या ऑस्टियोप्रोजेनिटर सेल्स होती है, इनका जो फंक्शन होता है दैट इज द सेम फंक्शन जो इनको नाम दिया गया है ऑस्टियोजेनिक फंक्शन. Osteogenic function means these osteoprogenitor cells, they give rise to osteoblasts. They give rise to osteoblasts whenever there is need for bone formation. I have told you that the extracellular matrix जो वो crystals बन रहे थे, वो crystals को initiate करता है, start करता है a type of cell that is called as osteoblasts. So whenever there is need of bone formation, so bone formation के लिए we need the extracellular matrix, we need those crystals, right? Crystals which has been deposited in the collagen fibers. So उन crystals को या उस calcification वाले process को हम जो है हम कौन स्टार्ट करता है? ऑस्टियोब्लास्ट्स. सो व्हेनेवर देयर इज नीड फॉर बोन फॉर्मेशन, these osteoprogenitor cells, they give rise to osteoblasts. Fine. And these osteoblasts जो है, I'm repeating about these, they are the bone stem cells which are derived from mesenchyme. Okay, and mesenchyme is the tissue from which almost all the connective tissues are formed. Fine. And then they जो है these osteoprogenitor cells, they undergo cell division and they form or develop into osteoblasts. And osteogenic cells जो है, they are found in the inner portion of periosteum and endosteum. Fine. And then they are जो है, yeah, their function is to give rise to osteoblasts whenever there is need for bone formation, right? Then second type of cell is osteoblast. Okay, osteoblast, as already mentioned, they are derived from the osteoprogenitor cells. Osteoprogenitor cells, they give rise to osteoblasts whenever there is need for bone formation. So these osteoblasts cells जो है, they are derived from the osteoprogenitor cells. Okay, अब ये जो osteoblasts है, they always are lining the growing surfaces of the bone. Fine. Bone formation में they start the process of calcification, so they are always present in the growing surfaces of the bone. Growing surfaces में ये present होती है क्योंकि वहां पे जो है there is need of that process of calcification. Okay, and these cells are जो है usually cuboidal cells, और इनका जो न्यूक्लियस होता है that is oval shaped nucleus which is usually shifted to periphery. Okay, and they have the basophilic cytoplasm, and that cytoplasm contains a lot of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and this cell osteoblast जो है it is it is जो है it is responsible for synthesis and secretion of जो है organic matter of matrix. Okay, synthesis and secretion of the organic matter of matrix, that is collagen fibers and ground substance. अब these collagen fibers जो है they are proteins, and protein formation के लिए जो है we need enough endoplasmic reticulum and then Golgi apparatus. Fine. So इसीलिए it has been mentioned here that osteoblasts जो है they are abundant in endoplasmic reticulum, and it is a protein secreting cell, so there is increased number of Golgi complex or Golgi apparatus in the osteoblasts. अब osteoblast जो है it has the function, it forms the bone tissue, it starts the process of calcification, and it also synthesizes and जो है secretes the osteoid. What is osteoid? We will come to know shortly. और organic matter of matrix जो है वो भी ये secrete करते हैं, that is the collagen fibers mainly. Collagen fibers are proteins which are secreted and synthesized by these osteoblasts. So that is the reason कि in cells में there is abundantly endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi complex present. Okay. हाँ. Then the next type of cell is osteocyte. अब ये osteocyte जो है actually these osteoblasts जो है ये when they secrete enough extracellular matrix जब ये बहुत ज़्यादा secrete करते हैं और ये फिर खुद ही उस extracellular matrix में जो है trap हो जाते हैं, and then they become the osteocytes. Okay, so osteocytes जो है these are the cells of mature bone. Osteoblasts were present in the bone abundantly during the growth of the bone, during the formation of the bone, during the calcification process. Fine. और उसके बाद when there is a mature bone tissue, तो उसमें जो cells present होती है, they are the osteocytes, which are actually formed from osteoblasts. Okay, and they are formed when the osteoblasts get trapped in that extracellular matrix which was secreted by them. Fine. And these osteocytes, they are smaller in cells, and their cytoplasm is less basophilic. जो osteoblasts थे उनका जो cytoplasm था that was majorly basophilic, लेकिन इनमें जो है less basophilic जो है cytoplasm होता है. Fine. अब ये जो है ये in among all these types of cells जो मेजर टाइप ऑफ सेल होता है बोन टिश्यू में, दैट इज दिस ऑस्टियोसाइट. एंड इस जो ये ऑस्टियोसाइट है इट इज ओवल इन शेप with the prominent nucleus. Fine. And then they have the cytoplasmic processes which are called as canaliculi. You can see that in the diagram. The cytoplasmic processes out, and they are called as canaliculi. And these osteocytes, they maintain the bone tissue. Fine. We have seen osteoblasts, osteoprogenitor cells. Osteoprogenitor cells were responsible for the osteogenic process. That means osteogenic process, they give rise to osteoblasts. And osteoblasts are responsible for the formation of bone, for the formation of bone tissue. And bone tissue जब form होता है then the bone is mature. तो उस मैच्योर बोन को फिर हमें मेंटेन करके रखना है, उस मैच्योर बोन टिश्यू को, एंड दैट बोन टिश्यू इज मेंटेन्ड बाय दीज ऑस्टियोसाइट्स, and these osteocytes which were formed by from the osteoblasts. Okay, so इनका जो function है that is mainly to maintain the bone tissue. Osteoblasts are responsible for the formation of bone tissue, and the osteocytes are responsible for the maintenance of the bone tissue, right? Now, we have the last type of cell that is called as osteoclast. I'm sorry, यहाँ पे जो है osteocyte मैंने फिर से लिख दिया है ऊपर. It is actually osteoclast. Okay, osteoclast is another जो है cell which is actually responsible for the resorption or destruction of bone matrix. Fine. When we need to destroy the bone tissue and build another bone tissue, तो उस destruction of extracellular matrix को that process is actually called as resorption. Fine. उसके लिए जो है osteocyte is responsible, and this osteoclast, this osteoclasts, they are the huge cells. Fine. And these osteoclasts are जो है formed from the fusion of around 50 monocytes which were the जो है टाइप ऑफ वाइट ब्लड सेल. वो मोनोसाइट्स जो है तकरीबन 50 मोनोसाइट्स आपस में फ्यूज होते हैं, and they form this type of cell which is called as osteoclasts. And these osteoclasts are present in the endosteum. They are majorly present in the endosteum. Fine. और endosteum में इन सेल्स का जो साइज इन सेल्स का जो साइड उस बोन की तरफ जो है फेस करता है टुवर्ड्स द बोन. एंडोस्टियम, देयर विल बी बोन सरफेस. नीचे आप देख सकते हैं देयर इज ए बोन. ओके, एंड बोन जो है, सपोज दैट सेल इज इन द एंडोस्टियम. Okay, that cell is in the medullary cavity, you can say, right? अब वो medullary cavity में जो है there is endosteum, और endosteum के बाहर there is bone tissue, right? मैंने आपको long bone में दिखाया था, आप फिर से वो diagram बाद में देख लीजिएगा. There is medullary cavity is lined by endosteum. इस endosteum में there are present these osteoclasts, और endosteum के बाहर देयर इज बोन टिश्यू. अब डेफिनेटली अगर एंडोस्टियम में ये ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट प्रेजेंट होते हैं तो वन साइड ऑफ दीज ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट विल बी फेसिंग टुवर्ड्स दैट बोन टिश्यू, राइट, टुवर्ड्स दैट बोन एक्चुअली. फाइन. अब वो साइड जो बोन की तरफ फेस करता है, इट हैज द रफ अपीयरेंस ऑन दैट बॉर्डर, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द रफल्ड बॉर्डर. Fine, that is called as the ruffled border. Fine. अब इसी ruffled border से ये cells जो है they release powerful lysosomal enzymes. Okay, and along with the enzymes they also secrete acids. Fine. अब वो acids क्या करते हैं? They digest the protein and mineral components of the underlying extracellular bone matrix. फाइन. क्योंकि हमें अब क्या करना है, हमें जो है रिजॉर्प्शन ऑफ बोन करना है. वी हैव टू बिल्ड अ न्यू बोन टिश्यू देयर. Fine. So we need to destroy that old extracellular matrix of the bone. We need to destroy those crystals. We need to destroy those minerals. We need to digest those proteins there. Fine. अब उन प्रोटीन्स को डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए ये ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट्स क्या करते हैं, ये इस रफल्ड बॉर्डर से, बिकॉज दिस रफल्ड बॉर्डर इज फेसिंग टुवर्ड्स दैट बोन, ये इस रफल्ड बॉर्डर से वेरियस एंजाइम्स रिलीज करते हैं, वेरियस एसिड्स रिलीज करते हैं, एंड दीज एंजाइम्स एंड एसिड्स क्या करते हैं, दे स्टार्ट डाइजेस्टिंग द प्रोटीन एंड मिनरल कंपोनेंट्स विच आर प्रेजेंट देयर इन द अंडरलाइंग एक्स्ट्रासेल्युलर बोन मैट्रिक्स. Fine. And that breakdown of that bone extracellular matrix is called as resorption. Fine. And this resorption जो है ये part होता है of the normal development, maintenance and repair of the bone. I'm repeating. Fine. So this osteoclast जो है, osteoclast is bone removing cells. Fine. Because अभी मैंने आपको फंक्शन बता दिया, दे आर बोन रिमूविंग सेल्स एंड दे आर फॉर्म्ड by the fusion of around 50 monocytes, fine, and they are the huge cells with the diameter of 20 to 100 micrometers, right? और इसके बाद जो है they these cells are oval cells with multiple nuclei, as they are formed by the fusion of various cells, so they are having the multiple nuclei. Around 15 to 20 or more than 20 nuclei can be present there in these cells, fine. Then these cells are present in the endosteum. Endosteum के एक साइड में there is medullary cavity and एक साइड में there is bone of the diaphysis, right? अब वो bone जो है उस bone surface की तरफ इस ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट का एक सरफेस उस बोन की तरफ जो है फेस करता है, और वो वाला सरफेस जो है दैट हैज द रफ अपीयरेंस, एंड दैट रफ अपीयरेंस ऑफ दिस ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट इज कॉल्ड एज रफल्ड बॉर्डर. अब उस रफल्ड बॉर्डर का जो जो इंपॉर्टेंस है दैट इज कि उसी रफल्ड बॉर्डर से जो ये ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट्स है ये वेरियस एंजाइम्स एंड एसिड्स सिक्रीट करते हैं, और वो एंजाइम्स एंड एंजाइम्स एंड एसिड्स क्या करते हैं, दे स्टार्ट डाइजेस्टिंग द प्रोटीन्स एंड मिनरल्स ऑफ द एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मैट्रिक्स. क्योंकि बोन है तो बोन में देयर इज एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मैट्रिक्स, देयर इज क्रिस्टल्स which were deposited in the collagen fibers. So all those crystals are destroyed, all those digested, all those collagen fibers are digested. तो इस प्रोसेस को हम कहते हैं जो है रिजॉर्प्शन, और रिजॉर्प्शन जो है ये पार्ट होता है of the normal development, maintenance and repair of the bone, fine. And these osteoclasts जो है ये they are also responsive to certain hormones. कुछ hormones भी जो है ये इस osteoclasts पे act करते हैं, and then these osteoclasts they also help in regulating the blood calcium level, फाइन. दीज ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट्स जो बोन्स का जो रोल होता है इन मेंटेनिंग दी ब्लड कैल्शियम लेवल, तो उसमें जो है दीज ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, फाइन. सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट द cells of the bone tissue. So we have seen osteoprogenitor cells are there, osteoblasts are there, osteocytes are there, osteoclasts are there. So we have seen from the beginning osteoprogenitor cells, they are the stem cells which give rise to osteoblasts, and osteoblasts jo hai they are responsible for the formation of bone tissue, and then osteocytes jo hai they are responsible for the maintenance of bone tissue, and osteoclasts jo hai they are responsible for the resorption of bone tissue. Yes.